Hi, I'm Kapika Davis. I'm the assistant for women's basketball here at UNC Pembroke, and you're watching the Black and Gold Report on WFXB.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of the Black and Gold Report, a show all about UNC Pembroke athletics. I'm Jenna Davison, and today on the show, we're going to be talking to head football coach Shane Richardson, and on the second half of the show, we're going to be talking strength and conditioning with head coach Joey Hannett. But first, we're joined by Coach Richardson. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, before we dive into spring football, the last time we talked to you on the show, you had just been named head coach of the Braves, and now after spending 7 seasons as defensive coordinator. But now that you've had a little over a month to settle in, what has the transition been like for you?
Yeah, it's been good. There's obviously a first time for everything right now, from sitting in the chair of the head coach, and so with that, I think just comes some good planning and preparation and some double and triple checking on some things to make sure that you're kind of covering your basis on going over the schedule and making sure that everything that you communicate for the first time is on point. And so a little bit of it is trial by error, but you just try to settle into a routine as we have here now with spring ball in progress. And so that's been a nice transition to be able to settle back into coaching some football.
Well, you named O.C. Williams as your defensive coordinator right after spring break and followed that up with the announcement of Johnny Cox as your offensive coordinator. How has the transition been with both of those hires, and what kinds of things have they brought to the coaching staff so far?
Yeah, it's been great. Those two guys are guys that I'm real confident in, and they've got a great ability to manage both sides of the ball and really have a good eye for what to look for on both sides of the ball as far as kind of our expectations and what we're looking for. And then obviously now with spring ball starting, they've got a good idea of what the offense and the defense should look like. And so they've been able to take the lead on both sides of the ball and do a really good job of getting guys in right positions and communicating the things that need to be communicated.
Well, after the announcement of those two hires, you have since filled your coaching staff with the hiring of Louis Rodriguez as your offensive line coach and Billy Lindquist as the wide receivers coach. What are some of the challenges that you've had with the new faces on your staff, and what are some of the glaring strengths that both of those coaches bring to this team?
Sure. Well, challenge-wise, I think, anytime you have new faces in the program, you've got to be able to communicate your vision, your expectations, your guidelines of what you want things to look like. And so doing that in a very quick manner, that was kind of a challenge just because of the timeline that we were under, and we were trying to, get guys in here to be able to start spring ball and get that organized and set up right. And so that's been the biggest challenge. But those guys have received it well. Louis brings a great energy to the field and to coaching his position, and so he's very passionate about what he does, and so he's been a great addition for the offensive line. And then Billy, he's been a great addition as well, just a great teacher, a guy that's been at the D2 level and knows what D2 football is all about, and so both those guys have been really good additions for us.
Well, let's dive into spring football practice now. The Braves went through the first of an NCAA allotted 15 spring practices session on March 21st. By the time this show airs, you will have put your team through practice number 8. So can you give us a progress report on the spring practice so far and talk about some of the things that you've been impressed with?
Yeah, we've gone through 5 already, and so we've been able to go a little bit of live stuff this past weekend, and so with that, I think we're able to get some guys in some situations where we're really playing real football, and so that's what we want to see. We want to be able to implement the new things that we're doing on both sides of the ball, and then be able to put those guys in situations where they can go out and really do it at full speed and do what we're going to do on Saturdays in the fall. And so that's been good to see. But I think going through this week, we will continue to progress into, installing a little bit more on both sides of the ball. We've got a little bit of a philosophy of just keeping it very simple on both sides and allowing our guys to play fast. That's been one of our objectives for this spring of just a program in general of really getting guys confident and allowing them to play very fast. And so that's been something that we've tried to focus on here as we go along.
Well, one of the biggest question marks heading into spring practice was at the quarterback position. Although you graduated 2-time All-American and 3-year starter Luke Charles, the Braves were pretty deep at the QB position heading into spring. But have you been able to identify a front runner under center yet?
Yeah, I think just this past weekend really gave us a good idea of evaluation as to where those guys are at. And so I think going into this week now, we're going to be working through the halfway point. We will really be able to start narrowing down the reps as far as those guys go. I don't know that there's a name right now that we would go with, that we would declare that's the starter per se, but I think we have a good idea of the couple guys that are going to be in the mix and starting to take more reps. And so this week we'll really start separating those guys.
All right. Well, we're going to take our first commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to continue talking football with head coach Shane Richardson. So stay tuned.